Guten Tag, and we are back with more of my German selections. And this time we are doing Dritte Wahl, der Himmel über uns. So again, I'm gonna go out on a limb to go that you have never heard of Dritte Wahl.
Well, to give the audience a little bit of a heads up on what we did, the fact that you had to spell it all out individually for me to find it on YouTube is a bit of a hint of not heard of them, but I like the title. I like the title of the song. I like the name of the band. This sounds. I'm leaning back into. Am I going to get Papa here?
You are not getting Papa. We are getting German punk.
You dirty, filthy heartbreaker. But again, I say you dirty, filthy heartbreaker. To a degree, Rammstein, dirty, filthy heartbreakers, for giving me the greatest use of Papa ever, or certainly the greatest use that I've ever come across of Papa.
And that special edition remix that I sent you.
Oh yeah.
If you've not heard it,
we need to do that.
There's not a video for it. Officially. There's a still one of it, but fuck it, we'll probably do it.
I was gonna say we'll do it. And if worst comes to worst, I'll just get a video of cats playing or something like that can play over it while we listen to the song.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, what knowledge have you of German punk? As obviously you don't have Dritte Wahl, but do you know any German punk there?
Hasselhoff?
Not really punk, is he?
Well, I'd say it's quite edgy. Have you not seen him in his Knight Rider era?
Well, there's edgy and then there's edgy.
Yeah. I mean, pretty much everything he wore was leather. That's pretty edgy, I think.
I suppose
had a card that could speak.
He would be a bit of an edgelord, I guess.
No, nothing. And funny enough, we were doing a little bit of googly woogly, and I was finding out lots of bands that I didn't know were German that are German, and so I may have come across some along the way, but no, certainly I don't think something that has crossed my bow. But you never know; there might be a band or two that I just didn't realise where they came from.
Yeah, so this is from Dritte Wahl's 10th album. I found them on this album as one of those weird Spotify punk playlists. This just turned up in it, and I was like, yes. And then
that's the beauty of a playlist, isn't it? Is that you can, and don't get me wrong, sometimes you do have to wade for a lot of shite. Or no, maybe shite's a bit wrong. You need to wade for a lot of average
to find the gold.
And then you find that bit of gold and you just go, this is worth it. The average was perfectly fine to listen to. So yeah, Spotify, sponsor us if you do that sort of thing.
Yes, please. Because, I could do with my subscription being paid for.
Oh, that'd be lovely, wouldn't it? Yeah.
So let's get into Der Himmel über uns.
Do we know what Der Himmel über uns means?
I don't, but I can Google it whilst we are watching it, and I will come back at the end.
Lovely job, Lee. I mean, not that it overly matters, but I think it's always nice to at least know the title, or for people who, like myself, are non-German speaking, to give them the title. But while you're Googling, let's get this song done.
Die Sonne scheint schon seit Tagen und wir sind unten am Strand. 30 Grad und wir haben die ersten Drinks in der Hand. Der Sand brennt unter den Sohlen, fast wie die Glut dort im Grill. Es ist Sommer befohlen und jeder folgt dem Befehl. Ja, so, genau so. So wollen wir das haben. Ja, so, genau so. Keine offene Frage. Und der Himmel über uns ist so blau wie Curacao. Und der Sand unter den Füßen ist so weiß wie ein Kanu. Und die Gischt dort auf den Wellen ist wie die Krone auf dem Bier. Braun wie Whisky ist die Haut. Sowas gibt's nicht in der Cloud. Sowas gibt's nur jetzt und hier. Rechter Wind in den Haaren, Sonne heiß auf der Haut. Nach gefühlt 100 Jahren ist das verdient und erlaubt. Und die Wetterprognosen könnten besser nicht sein. Sie laden zu einem grandiosen Sommertag ein. Ja, so, genau so. So wollen wir das haben. Ja, so, genau so. Keine offene Frage. Und der Himmel über uns ist so blau wie Curacao. Und der Sand unter den Füßen ist so weiß wie ein Perno. Und die Gischt dort auf den Wellen, sie die Krone auf dem Bier. Braun wie Whisky ist die Haut, sowas gibt's nicht in der Cloud. Sowas gibt's nur jetzt und hier. Dafür muss ich gar nicht um die ganze Welt. Wär schade um die Zeit und um das schöne Geld. Ich frag mich sowieso, was wollen die anderen bloß? In Rimini und Saint-Tropez, Marbella oder Übersee. Solange wir alle hier sind, ist woanders nichts los. Und der Himmel über uns ist so blau wie Curacao. Und der Sand unter den Füßen ist so weiß wie ein Perno. Und die Gischt dort auf den Wellen, sie die Krone auf dem Bier. Wie Kuba Liebe ist die Haut, sowas gibt's nicht in der Cloud. Sowas gibt's nur jetzt und hier. Und das Gras dort auf den Dünen ist so grün wie Mojito. Und die Sonne hoch am Himmel ist so gelb wie Wodka hoch. Und das ungetrübte Wasser ist so klar wie Martini. Und die Haut wie Cola rum. Wir bleiben heute einfach bis zum Tequila Sunrise morgen früh.
Moody look at the screen.
Well,
So, what did you think of the sky above us?
I liked his voice. It's got kind of that singing, and I say this, I mean, possibly it is because of this, but I always think of it. He's got one of those voices who sounds like he's drunk a lot for his life and smoked a lot for his life, and I never necessarily see that as a negative. I kind of like a bit of. I was going to say gravelly, but gravelly is probably the wrong term. It just sounds like a lived-in voice, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And I quite like that because I think it can take whatever someone's singing in whatever style they're singing, and it just adds an extra little kink to it, an extra little interesting kind of quirk to it. So I quite liked his vocals. I know, like other people from the band were kind of pitching at certain points, but I was always focusing in on his voice when he was singing.
Yeah. What about the rest musically?
Hey, not my cup of tea, mate. It's Smash Mouth. It's Blink 182. It's twee. It's very catchy. Don't get me wrong, but effectively for me, it is pop music under the guise of another musical genre. It's all the way through it. I could feel my head going, and it was getting me from that side. But I was disliking myself while I was doing it because I was like, no, it's just it's a trap, as Admiral Akbar so famously said. And you know, like I say about kind of Smash Mouth and things like that, like there are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of bands that I think probably sound like that out musically again, because I don't want to take away from the vocals that I did like. But you know, this is playing in the back of Road Trip, Euro Trip, Rat Race, any movie of that era, and yeah, leaves me cold, that sort of stuff. Even though it is catchy as fuck.
I was gonna say it just to me. I think again, this is probably the difference between us in ages here, because I was the right age for the pop punk boom of Green Day and Offspring and Blink and all of those pop punk bands in the late 90s, where, as we all know, I like a fucking catchy hook.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you know what? Like that's one of the things about this is us learning, and one of the things that has really surprised me is how much you like. I know we've said it on other episodes, but how much you like that kind of catchy thing. Because yeah, as I say, this could and open your mind real wide here. This could be any boy band ever. This could be any girl band ever. This is a pop song, and I don't really, other than the couple of absolute banging pop songs that I absolutely love out there, generally I don't really like pop stuff. The kind of more earwormy and catchier it gets, the less it resonates with me. Because I know that there's a formula there, isn't there? There is a formula of put together a series of notes. And I know obviously when anyone's trying to make music, they're trying to make music that people like, that people kind of want to listen to more. But pop almost feels like cheaty, doesn't it? It's the McDonald's of music, isn't it? Because they just go pump it for the fucking salt and send it out, and they won't even notice that actually it's flavourless, other than that thing that we're putting on top. And yeah, this kind of musically leans into that for me.
See, I get the pop vibe to it of being pop punk, but to me it's still punk. It's still guitars. It's still, you're not going to hear this sort of thing on the radio. This is just nice, fun music for drinking to. But
I think vocally, I can kind of get the punk out of him vocally, but and again, like I'm not disputing because pop punk is part of punk, but I think you would get this on the radio. I could easily hear this now. Probably not in our years in the UK radio, because UK radio is as bad as UK citizens. We wouldn't have anything foreign on the radio.
Well,
but but yes, like if they had actually been based in America and they were singing that would have been on the radio for me. And not to say that anything that is played on traditional old school radio is necessarily bad, but no, it just it's catchy, but it's just catchy in that way that I don't like. It's catchy as in it's an earworm that is designed, I think, to be an earworm, and not a lot more thought is musically probably put into it than that for me. Apologies to the band if they're watching this. And shit, people make a fortune out of pop, and people love pop. There's a reason why pop is probably universally, regardless of what genre it also links into, is the best-selling stuff out there, because a lot of people like it. But there's something deep inside me that rejects pop in all its forms.
See, if only you were like the masses, because then these bands would be huge. The other than Green Day, a lot of these bands do not get past a Brixton as like their ceiling.
Yeah.
So for how much you say, oh, it's saccharine pop music and the McDonald's of music, it doesn't get that sort of audience though.
It's because there's a lot of it. It's very hard to shine out when there's so many people doing it. Because at the other side of pop is that
they don't like guitars.
No, something's probably going to rise to the top. So you say Green Day, and I mean, I know Green Day's music changes sort of quite dramatically over time, and I say dramatically, maybe kind of what they're trying to do changes dramatically. So I don't feel like they wanted to start off as a pop punk band. I think they just probably got there, but they are probably the kings of that. And there's only so many places in the market when it is people who are leaning more to pop. There's a reason why the Spice Girls was the top girl band at the time, and lots of other words weren't, because you're fighting for being top dog in a pile of things, and you'll get one hit wonders. You'll get people who go back to Smash Mouth, who get a song in a movie that becomes popular because they get a song in a movie. But the pop end of stuff is really hard, isn't it? Because as I say, you're fighting a big market. Whereas maybe if you are a little bit more niche, you'll on paper have access to a smaller audience, but probably a smaller and more dedicated audience that will keep coming back and maybe seek out certain bands of a sort. But yeah, I go back to this and I think like probably the shame of it for me, and I don't know how big they are. I don't know how big they are in Germany or anything like that, but slap an American singer on this, and I think they probably are more well known and bigger, which is a shame because again it leans back to that, and it's something we've done quite a lot of on here is maybe people's view of I won't listen to that because it's not in my primary language, which is a real shame because I think go and God here we go bang the Rammstein drum again, but I think a lot of people wouldn't listen to it because it's not in their primary language and they miss some amazing music. On this one, again, I'd quite happily listen to his vocals again, but God, I wish the music was different for me.
Well, I'll be over listening to it in my pop punk folder with all the happy little pop punk music and being happy.
God, when did I turn into the miserable one? Like,
I know.
When did I turn into? But yeah, like, yeah. As I say, it's just not for me. It's but on another day, another song of theirs might really be for me, and I think that's the thing I found. We've talked offline about kind of maybe pop in general, like because we've done a few things that will lean into pop that will be out relatively soon, but sometimes there's a beautiful bit that comes out. You'll get a song that really throws you because you just don't think you'd ever like it, but it does. But I rarely find bands that I would consistently listen to, like maybe the odd track here and there. But
so that was Dritte Wahl. Like, comments down there what you think of Dritte Wahl. If you're coming in not knowing them, what do you think?
And especially, you said it earlier, like people who maybe are, even if it was kind of historically, people who are fans of Blink 182s and Green Days of this world, who may have never been exposed to this band. Let us know what you thought of them. Like, how do they compare for you? Because I'd be really interested. If this is your bag, how does this kind of sit in the echelon of bands that do this sort of stuff?
And whilst you're there, any other suggestions?
Yeah,
there. We always do love a suggestion and put it in the melting pot.
And so far, other than a couple of little whoopsies along the way where we've not noticed it, I think we pretty much reply at the very least to every comment we get because we kind of that's what we like about this. We like doing this together, but also we like chatting to people who take the time to put a comment on.
Exactly. And until next time, Auf Wiedersehen.